49ers Q&A mailbag coming at you here on the 49ers Report on Chat Sports. Be sure to give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. Let's get to some questions. This first one coming in from P-Dog. Hey, Chase, looks like the Falcons want a first-round pick for Julio Jones. Do you think that's too steep? Hashtag 49ers. P-Dog, I appreciate that question. I do think a first-round pick is way too steep for Julio Jones, and I actually think that the Atlanta Falcons are bluffing just a little bit, only to increase leverage. I don't think teams would be smart to give up a first-round pick for Julio Jones, a guy who last year had his season cut short because of injuries. He's 32 years old right now, obviously on the back nine of his career, even though he's still playing at an elite level. And those injuries, while it hasn't cost him a lot of games with the exception of 2020, they're starting to add up just a little bit. So at one point, are those injuries just going to become too much for the seven-time Pro Bowler and a guy who is no doubt going to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Also factor this in, P-Dog. 49ers gave up future first-round picks to move up to select Trey Lance, who they envision being their future franchise quarterback. So I don't think they have the draft capital to trade for Julio Jones, nor do I think that would be a smart move to give up a first for Julio. What do you all think watching? I mean, I said no. Would you trade a first-round pick for Julio Jones? Get into the comments. Let me know. Type T for trade. Type P for pass. I want to see what you all are thinking. Scion, my guy with this question. Did Wilson get injured before the draft? Because I think he did. Otherwise, why would the Niners draft two running backs? It's possible that the Niners knew about his injury. It did not become public until OTAs started this past week. Now, it's a torn meniscus for Jeff Wilson. He's going to be out 4 to 6 months. That takes him up until the start of the season or a little bit into the season. I think maybe John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan had some intel on this injury. I don't think it's been made public when exactly it happened, but maybe that played into the 49ers drafting Trey Sermon out of Ohio State in the 3rd round, as well as Elijah Mitchell in the 6th round out of Louisiana. I honestly think what this might do is back the 49ers into a corner because they have a crowded running back room. They're going to have to make some really difficult decisions because if Elijah Mitchell, who so far has really been impressing, 4'3" guy, really dynamic ability, if he continues to impress like he has in rookie minicamps and OTAs, and Trey Sermon proves that he was worth a 3rd-round pick, somebody's going to be on the outside looking in. Could it be Jeff Wilson because he isn't on the field? Possibly. That's something to look out for. Let's pivot to this question from Luke Luna. Watch Jimmy and Hurd step up and play healthy this season. Super Bowl bound for sure. Hashtag 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo and Jalen Hurd have probably had a lot of conversations because both of them have been crushed by the injury bug, which is unfortunate because in the one full season that Jimmy G played, really had an impressive season and helped lead the 49ers to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurd at Baylor, really good player. I mean, the guy started his career at Tennessee as a running back. Can you imagine seeing him with his physical nature at 6'4", 220 pounds playing running back? Converts to wide receiver, and in his last season at Baylor was great. But Jimmy and Hurd have just been on the shelf way too often throughout their entire careers. Jalen Hurd last year with the torn ACL. Jimmy G last year with the ankle. And if both of them can stay on the field, I'm with you, Luke. Like, I do think that the 49ers can make a run at the Super Bowl because this roster, offense, defense, special teams, is truly stacked. And I just want to see what they can do when healthy, because if they can maximize their potential, I think we could see something special brewing. The RMB bros, always watching the 49ers Report. Thank you. Should the 49ers sign Frank Gore or Todd Gurley after the Jeff Wilson injury? No chance. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this question, and the RMB bros, you often hit me with some really good questions here on the show. That makes no sense to bring in Frank Gore. Look, he was a 49ers legend, and I love what Frank Gore has done throughout his NFL career. We were having a heated debate in the office a couple weeks ago. Is Frank Gore a Hall of Famer or not? Because he's one of the leading rushers in NFL history. But the ship has sailed. You don't sign Frank Gore because you drafted Trey Sermon as well as Elijah Mitchell. You have Raheem Mostert, Wayne Gallman as well, Jeff Wilson, JaMychal Hasty. It makes no sense to bring in Frank Gore. 49ers Report and this mailbag is brought to you by our friends at Newsbreak. They're a very big supporter of what we do here at Chat Sports, and it's time to do a little giveaway. If you're watching our video on demand here and you get into the comment section and comment whatever the hell you want, you could say, Chase, you're the greatest. Let's go Niners. Niner gang, let's get it. Whatever you want, comment in the comment section right now. If you're watching video on demand, I will respond to your comment, and the first 100 people who comment, you get a free download of the Newsbreak app. So go to chatsports.com/49NB, download the Newsbreak app right now, and you can plug this link into the browser on your iPhone right now if you're watching us live, and it will take you right to the App Store. Some more incentives as to why you should download the Newsbreak app on one single feed. You get your local news, weather, and crime, your politics, pop culture, and food, your sports content, and also the 49ers Report has a page on the Newsbreak app. We are the second leading page here at Chat Sports in terms of followers, right behind the Dallas Cowboys Report. So once again, if you're watching live, go to chatsports.com/49NB, plug that link into your browser. It takes you to the App Store, and download the Newsbreak app today. Let's get to some more questions. This one coming in from Brit125. Who do you think will be the 49ers comeback player of the year? A couple of really good options here, right? It could be Jimmy Garoppolo. It could be Jalen Hurd. It could be Nick Bosa. It could be D Ford, I mean, there are a lot of players who could win comeback player of the year. Now, that's kind of sad to rattle off all of those star-powered names. Just goes to show you how hardly hit the 49ers were by the injury bug last year, but plenty of guys who could really step up this year and really just unleash themselves and have a fantastic 2021 campaign. Tommy Huxley, how did you get so good at shotgunning? I honestly don't know. It was something that I was just born with. It's a very rare talent, and I can just shotgun a beer in like 3 to 4 seconds. Not really sure how. It's just a unique talent for myself, and I'm a man of many abilities, Tommy. So thank you for recognizing that my shotgun pocket is elite. And if you super chat me $30, I'll do another shotgun live on today's show. Let's get to this question from Willis Schoonmaker. Do you think our young wide receivers are capable of being a top 10 core? I think so for sure. Deebo Samuel in his rookie season was fantastic. Brandon Ayuk last year was balling out. So it really depends on the impact and the health of Jalen Hurd. If he can stay healthy, that 1-2-3 punch is really good at the wide receiving core. Richie James, he's a solid player, but he's, of course, a wide receiver 4 on this roster. But Deebo and Brandon Ayuk are two of the most explosive yards after the catch guys across the NFL. I think really what the 49ers are missing is a true outside wide receiver who can go up and get it. But to answer your question, yes, I do think they can be a top 10 core in the NFL. Gary Sanchez, the one that plays for the New York Yankees, I'm not sure. Yo Chase, Nick Bosa tweeted, soon. When will he be ready, and what type of impact do you see him having? So according to Kyle Shanahan, who addressed the media a couple times this week during OTAs in Santa Clara, Nick Bosa is expected to be ready for training camp coming off that torn ACL that he suffered early in the season last year against the New York Jets in the Meadowlands. What impact do I see him having? Look, 9+ sacks as a rookie. I think Nick Bosa, if he's able to play all 17 games or at least close to that, Nick Bosa is going to look like he did 2 years ago when he was one of the best rookies and best overall pass rushers across the entire NFL. I expect him this year to have a double-digit sack season. I don't know what's running through that Bosa blood, but it's miraculous. Pops played. Joey is a baller. Nick Bosa really good as well. If Nick can stay upright and healthy, he's going to be elite on the edge for the 49ers this season. So will he be an all-pro? We'll see. I think he will. That's my opinion. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know if you think Nick Bosa is going to be an all-pro edge rusher in 2021. Get your votes in the comment section below. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Quinn Brady, what it do, my guy? Offensive line looks improved, yet I worry if they're deep enough. What are your thoughts? I actually think they are pretty deep. In addition to the starters, like you drafted Jalen Moore, you drafted Aaron Banks, some of the guys who were depth pieces last year, I think are going to be solid depth pieces this year. Important to note, Weston Richburg, according to Kyle Shanahan, is going to retire. He hasn't officially announced it yet. So for 49ers fans who have asked me what's the deal with Weston Richburg, he's going to retire. But in terms of starters, 49ers offensive line, if they stay healthy, is going to be one of the best across the league. Like Trent Williams, still an elite player. Laken Tomlinson, a really good guard. Alex Mack, really good too. Mike McGlinchey, I think 49ers have thrown him a lot of shade. He's a pretty good player though, and was a premium draft pick by the Niners. And what that does by having a deep offensive line, that allows you to have some depth. So is Aaron Banks going to start at maybe right guard and be the starter there? Maybe. If not, good depth piece. And then you also have Jalen Moore, who can also play tackle and guard and serve a couple of different roles. OJG, you're the real OG. Will Sanu have a big role this season? In my 53-man roster projection, I predicted him to make the roster. Obviously has familiarity with Kyle Shanahan. I think he could be a pretty solid slot receiver. It's kind of crazy how fast his game has fallen off. Like the New England Patriots a couple years ago traded, a second-round pick for Mohamed Sanu, and he just wasn't worth it at all. So I think in this offense, with Ayuk and Samuel, Sanu could have a pretty decent role. He's really going to have to prove himself in OTA's training camp and the preseason as well. Make sure you subscribe to the 49ers Report here on YouTube for the best 49ers coverage on the internet. How do you do that? You go to youtube.com/49erstv, or you see that big red subscribe button down below. Smash that. We go live every single Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. We bring you the latest news and rumors here on the 49ers Report, and we like to have a lot of fun while hitting you with some hard-hitting analysis. So subscribe to the 49ers Report and help us get to 36,000 subscribers. The faithful, it's a growing family, and we're only going to continue to get larger. Scion chiming in once again. D Ford and a 4th-round pick for Julio Jones. Here's Scion's trade idea. Hey, producer Sam Brown cooking up this graphic real quick, right on the fly. Scion, little shout out for you. I don't think this gets it done for a couple of reasons. According to reports, Falcons asking for a 1st-round pick in exchange for Julio Jones. I think realistically it's going to come down to a 2 and a 3, maybe even a player in there. So a 4th-round pick, not great value. It's also not great value including D Ford. If he was in his actual prime, potentially. But D Ford is coming off pretty severe neck and back injuries. Who knows if he can even still play? The 49ers don't even know that until he actually takes part in training camp, and he's not expected to be ready coming off those aforementioned injuries until at some point during training camp. So 49ers don't even know who D Ford is, nor do the Atlanta Falcons. They're not going to trade away a 7-time Pro Bowler who is still a really good player for an injury-riddled player in D Ford who doesn't have much left, I don't think, and a 4th-round, mid-round pick. So I don't think that deal gets it done, but thank you, Scion, for the question. Vahan Matal is always active in the chat. Which rookie will have the best season other than Trevor Lawrence? If Trey Lance plays, I think he does. And if you're watching us here on the 49ers Report, I did a video earlier this week on why I think it's impossible for Trey Lance to fail because of all of the support that he has from the coaching staff, the genius of Kyle Shanahan. Ownership is willing to spend. This is also a loaded roster. So Trey Lance is in a great position to succeed and really thrive and flourish. So if he's able to unseat Jimmy G as the starter, which as of right now, in late May, I don't see happening, but if it does happen, I think Trey Lance is going to be able to be really, really successful because of all of those reasons that I mentioned. Go watch that video on the channel because I did really break down everything in an organized fashion, and I'm really high, obviously, on Trey Lance because I wasn't a coward and I didn't give in to the Mac Jones hype. Next question coming in from the RMB Bros. Do you think Elijah Mitchell can be like Darren Sproles and Trey Sermon can be like a Frank Gore? Because that would be a dominant duo. Hashtag, who's got it better than us? Nobody. Amen to that. Elijah Mitchell as a Darren Sproles guy, potentially. He's not like 5'5", 5'6", like Darren Sproles was. I think that teams were very, very generous, the Saints and the Eagles, in terms of listing his height. He was honestly like 5'5", 5'6". So Elijah Mitchell is definitely bigger than him at 5'11", almost 220 pounds, has some more bulk to him. And Trey Sermon is around the same size, maybe a little bit taller than Frank Gore. I think Elijah Mitchell can be dynamic for sure because he's a speedster. I'm not saying that Trey Sermon is going to be a future Hall of Famer like potentially Frank Gore is. I do think both players can be really, really good.